I am super excited to be joined once again by Tara Szczepanski. How are you, Tara?
Hi, very good. How are you?
I'm well. It's great to be back with you. So many people have requested that you come back on the show, so here you are. We've both survived.
Yes.
We're here in Washington Square Park, and we're going to go on a little journey around because we've heard that there is to be some kind of a protest, some kind of a demonstration, I guess to let people out of jail or something?
Yes.
What do you know about this thing?
I don't know much about this particular protest, but my understanding is that a couple of days ago they had arrests that occurred in front of the 71st precinct, which is in Brooklyn, and so several individuals were arrested there. I might be getting my facts crossed. It feels like every day there's a protest going on, but I think that's what this is in relation to, and it's at the historic stone wall.
Yeah. So let's take a little walk over there, and it's kind of this way-ish. We'll take some time to find it. It's not scheduled to start until 5, but we can check out the park, we can check out the neighborhood around. And now, so this thing at the 71st precinct, you were there, right? That was. I
wasn't in that particular one. It was a couple of days ago, so I wasn't yet in town for it. But from the footage that I've seen on Twitter, it was again another quite violent protest that occurred with other individuals getting, other protesters, BLM protesters getting arrested.
And what the demands of the protesters were, as far as I know, is that they wanted the police to be held accountable for what they perceived as a violent response to earlier protests. And the thing that's troubling is, let's see if we can get out of the wind over here a little bit. The New York State Attorney General, it's never been this windy before. I mean, on a shoot here. But she's suing the NYPD and accusing them of having a violent response. So the thing that I immediately think of is, we've heard everybody say that Donald Trump incited violence on January 6th at the Capitol building. But I think Letitia James is inciting violence against the NYPD. And I mean, everybody knows, particularly after they refuse to help you. I'm not a big fan of the NYPD. I don't want to beat them up. I don't want to defund them. But creating a situation where people are inciting violence against them, why is that allowed?
Yeah, and we're having daily protests. It seems like it's almost daily protests occurring in New York around these precincts. And what we're probably going to go witness again today, that to me seems like it's inciting violence as well.
I know, and it's amazing who they choose to hold to account and who they do not. I should remind people that they should check out Tara's YouTube channel, the Polish American Brotherhood on YouTube.
Yes,
you can find that.
Thank you.
And what's the Twitter handle again?
PoAmBrotherhood.
PoAmBrotherhood. PoAm. Sorry. Yeah, Pro-Am is kind of like racing, right? So we want to make sure we have the right Twitter handle there. So the other thing that everybody is really up in arms about, Tara, I don't know if we're going to have a chance to make it down there, but there's going to be a protest apparently also on Wall Street. Yeah. This whole stonk situation with the GameStop and all that. What have you been hearing about that?
I heard about it yesterday, that it was all over Reddit and it's been artificially driving up what's going on in the stock market, and then now today with American Airlines. But I started following, since it's involving gamers, I know a couple social media influencer gamers that also are streamers, so I went to their Twitter handles, and so I just went down their rabbit hole. But it seems like they're the ones kind of banding together to be doing this. It's I'm not too familiar with how the stock market works and everything, but it's going to cause a bubble from my understanding, right? You would probably know more than I do about it.
I'm not really a huge stock expert, but this is something that is sort of interesting and strange because during the walkarounds, and what people didn't get to see is that we actually just ran into Charles Ortel back over there. He's on his way to another interview. Would have been nice to get him involved in some way, but he was busy. Charles obviously is an expert in the stock market and all this kind of stuff. I really know very little about it, but I did mention to Charles, just walking around the city, that it seemed like GameStop is a company that is not going to be able to last because, PlayStation and Xbox and all these new console systems are moving towards having app store type, integrated sales things where people don't need to go to a store to buy the games. And it seems like a retail store like GameStop, as much as retail is getting totally smashed by, Amazon and now Cuomo.
It's going to be like another like Blockbuster too.
Exactly.
Physical locations are being replaced with
You hit it on the
online.
head. Right. It's exactly like Blockbuster. It's the same exact situation that Blockbuster was in when video streaming began. Nobody really needed to go to the video rental store anymore. Same thing now with video games. You've got this thing Steam, which is like a streaming game online service, and everybody's interested in doing. So the stock is tanking, and as I understand it, these stonk Redditors are buying up the stock that hedge funds are shorting to make it so that the hedge funds lose their money, and there's basically nobody to sell them the stocks. And now what I've just heard from a friend who's actually bought some of this stock is that apparently President Dumb Joe has contacted Robinhood, which is one of these retail traders, and told them to stop selling the stock. Crazy, right? Talk about stock manipulation. So we'll see what's going to happen, but to me, this thing has all the trappings of some kind of substantial disaster about to come down. And AOC had a tweet where she was saying that she demands an investigation into this. Now, wait a second here, Tara. This is the famous Bobo restaurant.
Oh, I came to eat here a couple of days ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
In the hut?
Yes, we were inside the hut, and unfortunately it was raining that day, so I was getting rained on.
Oh my God.
I was seated over here. The food's fantastic, by the way, but it's very challenging to be in this weather and eating outside.
It's freezing, isn't it?
Yeah. So I was sitting over here, and the rain was coming right inside.
Wow.
So, because they don't have an awning over here, it was coming right inside. But I'm a fan of New York City dining, so rain or shine, I'm still out here to be supporting our businesses. So Baba was excellent, as long as you're not in that particular seat when it's raining and you're getting rained on. Other than that,
yeah, I mean, it's really bad.
I fail to see though with like how they've basically constructed these outdoor dinings. What's the difference?
Correct.
What's the difference between, the interior of Babo's is absolutely stunning, but what's the difference between this and being
Well, you've
inside?
got no HVAC system out here, so you're sitting with stagnant air where the virus can fester and, getting rained on and cold. So my grandmother would say that alone will give you pneumonia. It's interesting, they've started to decorate them. You see we got pictures on the wall in here. But I guess Babo is getting ready for their evening of customers, or so they hope. We've been hearing a lot from, de Blasio and Andrew Cuomo that now they must open the city, which is ridiculous because so many businesses have failed.
They've already opened indoor dining in DC. I think they're going to be opening it pretty soon back here in New York City. And all the businesses, these outdoor dining constructions are not cheap.
Right. They've spent thousands, I'm sure, building them. And I see a lot of them around the city are not filled with people, and the restaurants themselves are closed. There's a place over here on 7th Avenue called the Copper Still that looked pretty busy to me each night, and now the past several nights I've been by there, it's totally closed. So they're opening up all these businesses just in time for the business owners to be completely
going out of business.
Right. Their will is broken. They're financially beaten down, and I just don't understand how they think that that's going to work out. Now, I think we've got to go past 6th Avenue here. Stonewall, it's a little further down. It's a good thing we have some time to try to get there. So what else has been on your mind lately, Tara? You've got a new gig since we last met. Tell everybody about that. So
I am the new program host for Live One TV, and the program's called The Capital. So I had the honor of also interviewing Jason. So we switched we switched around, and I was interviewing him. Though whenever we're talking, it's always just talking.
Yeah, we had a great conversation, and they've got a wonderful model of the Capitol building over there. I haven't heard too much news today, speaking of the Capitol, about this pending impeachment of President Trump. Have you heard anything about that?
I know I have a list of the Republicans who had voted to impeach him.
Yeah.
And so I think we should vote them out.
So, okay, now let me, I'm going to get the stone wall here on the GPS to make sure that we know where we're going, because I certainly don't. And, you know, when you're down here in the West Village, if you, it's not the same as the rest of Manhattan in terms of the grid, you know? Here we go,
Yeah.
Stonewall. It's on Christopher Street, I know that. So we're pretty close here.
I think the story goes that when Manhattan was first becoming populated, so you have all these streets here just crisscrossing with each other, and in not the grid form that you're going to find going up after Houston and up, which is Houston. It's been a while.
You know
but
what?
I actually
think
used to live in the Lower
We
East
got to
Side.
go back up this way. Oh yeah, where'd you live on the Lower East Side?
Norfolk and Rivington. I was there like more than 10 years ago.
Now look at that, Tara, across the street. We've got, we're getting some really pretty elaborate, I mean, that's like an extension to the building.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that in New York before.
And to be constructing these really at the whim, because you don't know if they're going to again close it down, set it, and change these restrictions, because they seem to be haphazardly doing it whatever's
Right.
convenient to them. And so with the 10 p.m. curfew, literally you could be mid finishing they don't let you finish. They won't let you finish your food. They will immediately kick you out. I often go with people who are regulars to the restaurants, and it's not the restaurant's fault because they're going to get fined. You have like the Gestapo style police come and fine the restaurants, and so that's putting more money into whatever, you know, part of the city.
Right.
So we're really like living in a tyrannical like government society when they're coming in and just fining you for having your businesses, and they are relentless. I've seen it.
It's creating such a miserable environment here in New York City. And you know, there's this country in Asia, I'm sure you've heard of it, we're allowed to mention it, it's called China.
I think I've heard of it.
And you know, they've locked down the whole entire city because of this this pathogen. It's a virus. We are allowed to discuss that country and pathogens, but the compound word has been banned.
By executive order.
Executive order, President Dumb Joe. I'm sorry, I mean President Stupid. Yeah.
You see all of these attacks on all of our amendment rights, just tearing at them.
Well, they're gone, obviously. I mean, you can't say that. I don't know what happens. I don't really want to test it because we don't want to decimate the YouTube channel. We're now just a day into the Jason Goodman YouTube channel being back, and it's nice. A lot more people get to see the videos. I can tell people who are watching us to visit subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. That helps me keep the news coming. This guy's wearing shorts. He's out of his mind.
Oh, wow.
It's a little chilly for that, right?
You can see it right there.
Right, Waverly. That's what Charles said, and there it is. So we want to make sure we go across here on Waverly, and we'll be good. Even the Waverly Diner, if you want barbecue chicken, you got to go into the wood building there. Up, and there's another U-Haul. Somebody moving out. Been a lot of moving trucks around the city.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the aspects that kept like New York special often, like your nightlife, your ability to like enjoy meeting people. What's the point of paying such a high rent?
Right.
And
if
the
you don't
charm's
have
gone.
those things. Yeah. I agree with you, and so that's why I'm leaving on Sunday. I'm going to be driving all around the country, trying to find a new place to live. I mean, I can't say I'm exactly excited about it. I didn't want to leave New York, but it's become so... What's your experience like when you walk out of your apartment and walk around without a mask? I mean, obviously, I think people probably have a more positive response to you than me.
So I make a conscious effort to remove the mask as often as possible. I do believe that it has a psychological effect to make us be more demure, and because you're putting literally a muzzle on your mouth. And when I see children, especially young children in strollers, and it's completely illogical because they're not even around anybody, but it's going to teach train the child to not speak up. And that's what they want. They want control over us. And for me, I was always encouraged by my parents to be speaking up as much as possible.
I think we can tell. That worked.
And you know, it might have bit them in the butt when I was a teenager, but as an adult, like it's one of the aspects, I guess, that's been celebrated about me, and I like for my. Oh wow.
Yeah. So there's
They're getting ready.
Contingent
Oh my goodness.
of moped. Yeah. So we're here just in time, I think.
I'm also cautious when I see this person in a blue jacket.
Why?
Because so what I've observed from going to a couple of the rallies, the way that they're organized is people in blue jackets are the ones that act almost like scouters.
Huh.
And
That guy's
also
got a security jacket.
interesting.
So you and I are both, I think, on the list of targets here for Antifa-style people. So we're going to be very careful. Definitely do not want to get dirty diapers rubbed on us. You know, people who missed your first encounter.
I'd never been so thankful for a mask at that moment, though, in my entire life, because I was wearing a mask at that time.
Exactly.
But, yeah, so when I do see, like, today I feel like people, because I saw a lot of police also around when I got off the subway, so people are gearing up for today. There's a lot of protests that are going in the city. We've seen the one that we're planning on watching. These type of ones tend to get violent.
Yeah.
So also particularly why like I'm not live streaming on mine, because I know that that Antifa watches my channel particularly, so I'm not live streaming at the moment. Hopefully they're not watching yours at the moment, but
well, they might be, but we'll soon find out. I mean, we have no intention of doing anybody any harm. We
Exactly, we
have no
never
intention
do.
of disrupting this thing. We're just going there to check it out. It's unbelievably windy. It's freezing. But yeah, hopefully. So now, okay, wait a minute.
there's a Stonewall Inn.
That's yeah. Right. All right. So here, let's go right over this way.
But to wrap up my earlier point, I think it's important to be taking the masks off as much as possible. So I put them on when I need to and I'm required to. There's sometimes like I'll wait for somebody to tell me to put it on.
Right.
When I enter into a place. I do that intentionally as a way of civilly pushing back, but I understand in the sense that it's not the store owners are just enforcing policies that they might not necessarily agree with, but at the same time you're then enforcing things you don't agree with. But my own way of pushing back is still being asked to wear it when I enter into places.
Have you been on any planes since this all started?
I've been on planes quite often. All the time. Every week.
And obviously you gotta wear a mask when you're on the plane. Any weird encounters?
So what I do is I usually keep a drink with me or food with me, and so that way I give the appearance I'm eating or drinking, and then so that's the exception to it, so I don't have to wear it. Am I concerned about like I don't think masks are effective that they work. So with that, I'm not one who supports wearing a mask. I was earlier on at the beginning of the pandemic, but after I started researching more in my understanding, and I don't think masks work. And now, especially now, they're telling you to wear 3 or 4. I'm like, you know, why stop there?
Yeah.
Why don't you just keep going to 50?
The whole box, right?
And then it'll be effective because you won't be able to breathe, and Corona will be the least of your worries.
Right, and of course, nothing that we're saying is medical advice. This is just our personal opinions about stuff. So we're here right across the street from the Stonewall Inn, and no one's arrived yet, really. Now it says retail space for lease. So actually, I guess the Stonewall is this right next to it down here. Let's just see what.
It's next to a puppy store.
Oh yeah. Well, if you need a dog, you could. So that's interesting. Where were those cops going? I guess they're not here.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, we can continue to walk around and then maybe come back.
So Stonewall Inn is particularly like pivotal to Pride. When you have Pride Week here in New York, you have the Gay Pride Parade that comes through Greenwich and West Village, and I've attended it like multiple years. I'm a big fan of it. It's a lot of fun, and so the center of it. I'm not 100% clear on the history, but you had the Stonewall riots that had occurred here. I don't know what year that was.
Well, I think it played a big role in the gay rights movement, and it remains a very popular bar for LGBTQ people and their friends who want to. But I mean, I guess it's closed, right? You can't be inside a bar. I think they had some tables out here last week or whenever it was, but I don't know. Do they serve food there?
I'm not sure if they serve food, but I know they serve alcohol.
Yeah. Well, let's keep walking around and we'll come back as it gets closer to 5. Doesn't seem like it's maybe as big a. Wait a minute. So we got people showing up. See, you always see kind of interesting things developing when you just hang out here.
Oh, and the other people to be looking out for are people who wear green hats. Green hats, they're the ones who will come and if people get arrested.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, the bright green hats.
The bright green hats.
They're like lawyers or civil rights guys or something like that, right? And they're taking people's names. So that was interesting that Kamala Harris wanted to bail out people who were, rioting and mostly peacefully protesting until they decided to like burn down the police stations or whatever it is that they were doing, and then she was bailing them out. It's so frustrating, Tara. I mean, right now we're in a time where up is down and black is white, and they're
being what they advertise as anti-racist is actually racist.
Yes.
By definition.
Now see,
fascist is actually, like when they're being anti-fascist, they're actually being fascist.
Yeah. Now,
but I mean, this is the obvious that I would hope more people would be attuned to. But common sense value, I'm seeing it less and less in today's society.
It's almost like they're trying to force an illogical conclusion down people's throats. I mean, just think about it. The notion that for 11 months you're going to wear a mask, and they're telling us that there's more. There are the cops. They're telling us that there's more coronavirus deaths now than ever, and we've all been, wearing. Well, a lot of people have been wearing these masks for a long, long time, and if it's getting worse, I mean, isn't that at least suggestive that the masks don't quite work?
I would think so. I think that if something has already been proven to not work, that we should be coming up with new approaches or just abandoning the old approach.
Yeah, re-examine it and come up with a new approach. So I guess the cops are over there waiting to see what happens. Yeah, the duplex, right? That's right next to the stone wall.
The duplex is also, it's a theater, right?
I think that might be right.
Yeah, I think one of my friends she had self-produced a show one time in the duplex.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff going on over here. So we'll keep walking around and then we'll come back a bit. Let's see. The city's been pretty quiet, I think, the past few days. Maybe because of the cold and a lot of people.
We had snow the other day.
Right. A lot of people just staying home. How have you been enjoying the time during the pandemic here? Have you been, you're going out to dinner and doing all kinds of fun stuff.
I continue to live my life. I think that it's important to, you take the necessary precautions that you have to as an individual, but I try to stick to the normality of my life. I've been continuing to travel from city to city, documenting everything that's been going on, and I love eating out, so I continue to do so. I haven't really adjusted myself in that regard. I've had to adjust being in New York City to sitting outside in the freezing cold, but it hasn't stopped me.
What do you think of this? I don't know that I've really observed these pentagrams on this building here before. And Tara, when you go to these various restaurants, I've noticed that some places now are starting to want to contact trace. They ask you for your phone number. Are they doing that at all the places you're going to?
Not every place has done contact tracing, and I tend to put a different phone number down.
Right. So there's another point, is that it's really useless because we don't know if they're even getting accurate information.
Because I'm just suspicious as to what that information can be used for.
Right.
So I have high distrust when it comes to that. So I do go out, but I do put a different phone number down, and that's my right.
Because the other thing is, when they're going to use it the way they tell you they're going to use it, they could basically just call you in 2 weeks and say, somebody at the restaurant had coronavirus, so now you're a health threat, so we're going to come grab you. Now, this is a pretty fancy place, Boucherie. They have another one on Park Avenue, really delicious food, and they've built what looks like a real nice, basically outdoor, it smells great.
Yeah, it does.
They built just like an outdoor restaurant here. So I've said it a million times. I keep saying it because it's so illogical. We just have to. Now wait a minute. This place has a brick. Was this always outdoor light? I guess it must have been. There's no way they built this. Although I don't know. I don't think I've ever noticed this before, being outdoor. It's not real brick, is it? This is fake brick.
Is it?
It's real.
Oh wow. Maybe they built it as an extension. I'm
It's like
not
Garden
exactly
State
sure.
brick face and stucco.
I remember when they closed this one down a couple of years ago. So Jekyll and Hyde, they also had a Midtown location that was the Explorers Club.
Yeah.
It's very kitschy themed and
It's
a lot of
almost
fun.
like a theme park.
It's a
right?
theme park, exactly.
They've got like
They have actors
monsters and
a show
things.
and
Yeah.
Frankenstein, and it's fun.
Yeah.
But another thing that had closed down a couple of years ago, and this one closed down as well.
I mean, almost everything around here is closed as you look around, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this side of the street, the other side of the street. Look right across the street. How many restaurants are there? There's nobody in there. I mean, at this time of day in New York City, ordinarily people would be maybe leaving work early, having
Yeah.
some drinks with friends.
Thursday's part of the weekend.
Exactly, but not really any longer.
Seeing the graffiti. Like in West Village is a gorgeous part of town, but you see graffiti all over the place occurring now. I saw
Yeah.
BLM scribbled on, when I got off the subway, I saw BLM scribbled a bunch of places. Oh, there's a lot of graffiti over there.
Let's go take a look.
But the atmosphere, it feels like there's this darkness now that
Yes.
is about New York City, that it used to be energetic and lively. But now the atmosphere, like when I walk through, it's just like, you see graffiti all over the place and you have that sense of unwelcomeness and not being safe.
Right. That's the big problem. I got to tell you, it was that video before you and I even met. When I saw that video where you were being attacked and you went over to the cops, I just said to myself, that's it. When criminals control the streets.
I think of Batman and Gotham,
Right.
and I like to watch it from a fictional standpoint. I don't actually want to
don't
live
in
it,
Right.
but that's what's happening here.
It is. And you're extremely brave. We've discussed that before. And I just think that most people, I don't know, everything is closing down. As you said, it's a very oppressive environment. People are just not being friendly, reporting their neighbors for not wearing masks, calling out to people in the street, telling them what to do. This guy's eating pizza, his plate is blown away. I mean, it's just terrible. It's so annoying. I feel for him. Sorry, dude.
Kumo Sushi, I wonder if they're still open, but they had a very good all-you-can-eat.
Let's take a look. I think it's closed. I think I observed just the other day that it's out of business.
Yeah, a lot of my favorites are not open anymore.
And it's sad, right? Like,
It is.
I mean, I guess it's not the biggest deal in the world compared to what some other people are going through. I had a conversation last night with Michael Kane, who is the spokesperson for New York Teachers for Choice.org, and he was telling us about how they're forcing testing on these young students, some as young as like 6, 7 years old, little kids, and they get scared, and there's some stranger in the whole hazmat outfit wanting to jam a Q-tip up their nose. Their parents aren't there. Their regular doctor isn't there. He told me some of these kids are having, bathroom accidents, and they're very embarrassed. It's traumatic, and
China has a even more invasive, I don't know if you heard of it, but they have a more invasive test.
the anal swab.
Yeah.
I heard about that.
I don't know.
Who would? I mean, if it's so deadly, shouldn't you know if you have it?
And now that, it's been a year into this pandemic and they have research that's come out, and the solutions that we have in place of these lockdowns that are closing down all of our businesses, Kumo's out, all of these places are,
Matt,
you just see store for rent. As you walk down West Village and Greenwich, it's all store for rent because all these businesses are closed. But for a virus that has a 99.5
Whatever.
percentage survival rate.
Yeah, it's really quite upsetting. And now that we've heard that the White House has contacted some of these retail stock broker places and really are clamping down, I don't think I have a full understanding of what's going on. We had a brief conversation with Charles where he said that he disagreed with the Reddit buyers that were coming together because he felt that it was a case of two wrongs not making a right, that the short sellers are doing stuff that's illegal and should be dealt with by the regulators. And that the buyers that are trying to counteract that are also doing something bad. It just feels to me like, this is something new. This is something that hasn't ever really happened before. And
I've never heard of it.
right? And it just feels like something bad is going to happen. Like some kind of regulatory bad thing. Or I don't know. It's just to have a very troubling sense of kind of like foreboding, like...
Well, people are getting angry, and their anger is going to start to express in different creative ways. And
What does that sign say there?
if we don't open the economy soon, we will have nothing left to open. That's why we've decided to wait.
It's a very accurate sign. Now, so this is the Sullivan Street Bakery, and I guess they're out of business because it says for lease, but they're also in there doing something. I don't know. How do you feel about Andrew Cuomo?
Before I realized what was going on, and I would watch his press conferences before because I was an anti-Trumper beforehand, and so I didn't want to watch the president's press conferences. I would tune in from Florida. I would tune into Cuomo, and I'd be like, Cuomo for president.
Wow.
But that just shows like the ignorance that I even had at that point, because I really was just like jumping onto what was popular.
Right.
And then so like that's what like a lot of the Democratic rhetoric is it's saying what's popular and trending, and that's why you have mob justice to be so swift, and it's incorrect. And so I was one of those saying Cuomo for president, but now how you have him like or he got the Emmy. That's
exactly. He's the Emmy award-winning governor. I don't know if you know, but I'm being sued by the Emmys. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences is suing me.
You made it big.
Nah, I mean, I don't know about that, but we're up to discovery in the case. Actually, it's a good moment for me to remind people that they can support the Counter Lawfare Fund by going to crowdsourcethetruth.com. You can scroll down past yesterday's video with Charles, and you'll get to the Counter Lawfare sponsorship options. Tara, everybody gets an annual subscription to Crowdsource the Truth, and they can have gift subscriptions for friends and family and stuff like that. So it's a great way for people to counteract some of the lawfare that's going on. How do you fund your reporting, Tara? Can people support you some way?
Yes, I have a Venmo, and that's PoAmBrotherhood. If I do take donations, and that's gladly accepted, because I've been buying my own equipment. I've been paying my way to go to various cities, so everything has been self-funded. My most generous donor is my father,
who
helped me found the Polish American Brotherhood channel. But as we're looking to expand and grow more and everything, so and then also putting myself out there at rallies. Like at the first one, they took my microphone. It was a $200 microphone.
Wow.
They stole that during the first assault, and then during the MLK riots, somebody also stole my my Sony ZV-1.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
fortunately able to get that back, but that's a $1,000 camera.
Wow, you got to be careful.
Exactly. So I am going to be insuring now my equipment, because I've invested into purchasing a lot of different things, like the GoPro around my neck. I got a body cam.
Right.
But I have been self-funding to this point, and looking to cover more and be out there more, so donations are always gladly accepted.
I think it's important for people to support independent journalism. We're really getting a good feel how skewed the corporate news is, and it's a mystery to me. The reason I started Crowdsource the Truth was because it's just so clear that if Pfizer or Exxon or whoever is sponsoring the news is going to be delivering for the people who pay them.
Yeah.
So by having this direct-to-viewer sponsorship, I think it's just a much better way to be in the business of reporting news. Now, there's been a construction project going on over here for quite a while. It looks like a bit of a mess to me. It is a real nice day despite the cold. Very clear. I was surprised there weren't more people over there. I guess it was pretty early. We'll just do a little loop around, and then we'll head back and see if that protest is happening.
Usually for the protests I've been attending, like from the time that I see them advertised on the flyer, I usually stroll up almost an hour late. That's when the crowd actually starts to really pick up.
Huh. See, that's interesting, because in my experience, when I did that, we show up and they're over. So Because like sometimes I guess if it's here, look, someone's been putting this sign all over the place. I think if it's permitted and properly arranged, they want to be there on time because they have only a limited amount of time that they can be there. Oh wait, that's a different one.
Oh, we are hurt, we are frustrated, we are in mourning, we are anxious, we are shocked. Well, actually, that's you. I'm okay. I live in Albany and I have a job.
Yeah, exactly. But I like what you were saying about him before. It's because he's popular and he's presented. I mean, it's like any kind of marketing campaign, right?
Yeah, he was well branded.
Well branded.
And the thing is, when you're busy and you don't have time to research, you're just going to take things at face value.
Right.
But really, for my own sake, like it took only a little bit of diving in for me to realize the discrepancies of what was on the media versus what was happening in reality. And then for me, I'm a very curious person, so I went from, after I recognized these discrepancies and doing independent research, going like straight to the government websites and watching full press conferences, I started traveling to the cities that were being reported on.
You see, and that's what I did too, just going out and trying to find these answers myself. So what would you say was the tipping point that caused you to realize that something wasn't right and to start looking into this stuff more?
It was really the attitudes of friends around me. And so a lot of my friends I had from college, which I feel like colleges and universities now are really like liberal breeding grounds.
Right.
But as soon as I started voicing opinions that they disagreed with, like people were really mean. Like they were accusing me of valuing a statue more than human life, and it was.
And the statue of the Polish patriot. What was his name again?
Tadeusz Kościuszko.
So that got destroyed, and you said, "Hey, wait a minute."
And I called BLM a domestic terrorist organization because they're vandalizing, rioting, and looting. I mean, that was, and I wasn't too much into social media at that point, so I posted that remark on what was called Blackout Tuesday. So I had just the impeccable timing for voicing my opinions. But at the same time, like it's, like in a free society, you're supposed to be able to be saying your opinion, somebody else says their opinion, and you talk about it.
Debate.
And that's how you have a debate. And that's how problems get resolved. But that's not what was happening. People were silencing me, and instead of going to the points that I was saying, they were attacking me as a human, as a person. And the people that were attacking me were people who also knew me in real life. So that part, like, absolutely boggled my mind. I'm like, we were student activists together when we were in university, and you know me as a person and the character. But I was so dehumanized by people. So the psychological and social aspect of trying to figure out what is going on in the minds of people that I thought knew me and I thought I knew.
That had to be a big wake-up call because Blackout Tuesday, as I remember, was when everybody was putting a black profile picture on their Instagram or whatever, and then somehow right away people said, "Oh no, don't do that," because I don't know why. Somehow they decided that it was bad after they were doing it for a little while. Now, I had somewhat of an ulterior motive in coming over here. I wanted to check out this restaurant, Monty's, which appears to be just incredibly closed. They've totally boarded up their exterior.
I haven't been here before, but I've definitely heard of Monty's. And then you have Rents Too High over here.
Monty's is a great restaurant, family owned.
Yeah, there for.
My friend owns it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've been going in there for 30 years.
Pietro Mosconi's owned it for 32 years. We need to get this fixed.
We do.
Yeah. Well, I happen to know that the family that owns the restaurant owns this building, so it's possible that they just decided to close the restaurant for a little while until they can reopen indoor dining. I mean, it makes sense because you're going to stock up with food, staff, and your electric bill and all that.
And often, like these restaurants, they have contracts with like their vendors, so they're still receiving like the foods and whatever products that they are contracted
Booze
for.
and whatever.
And when you're not able
there's Peter.
to.
How are you, man? Can I talk to you?
I don't even know if I should have my views published on the World Wide Web.
Well, Peter, this is Tara.
Hey, Tara.
Hi, very nice to meet you.
So wait, let me come onto this side here, and we should have your views published over. Tara, join us.
Absolutely.
So Peter is the proprietor of Monty's. I've been coming by, man. Are you guys closed?
We've been closed. Yeah, right before Christmas we closed.
Just because nobody's coming?
It's too cold.
Too cold to be outside.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Il Duce Cuomo telling you to build a hut outside rather than utilize the interior with the HVAC that recirculates the air. And what do you think about this idea?
I can't wait for his comments tomorrow. Let's see where.
Oh, he's going to announce something about restaurants tomorrow?
Yep. Hopefully what we all want to hear.
Well, when they reopen the restaurant, everybody should come down to Greenwich Village and eat at Monty's Trattoria. It is my favorite restaurant in the city.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too, Peter.
Have a good night. All right. Take care.
Very nice
Thanks
to
for
meet
talking
you.
to us. Oh, well, that's good. I've been wanting to speak to Peter for quite a while, so there he was. They are closed. I mean, that makes sense, and we'll find out tomorrow what Cuomo is going to do. Any kind of restaurant owner's got to be real careful. Thank you. I almost tripped and killed myself. But restaurant owners have got to be careful about appearing on Crowdsource the Truth, because if people don't like my views, they don't want to, project that onto the restaurant. But that's nice that we got to hear from them.
That's true. When I was when I did an episode in Miami, one bar and restaurant owner I spoke to, and so we kept his identity anonymous and also his restaurant unnamed during the interview, because he was concerned, even in Florida, in a red state, he was concerned that by coming out as a Trump supporter, that people would come and ruin his business, that would come and vandalize his property, or come and harass his employees.
I mean, isn't that crazy that we're living in a society where that's a serious concern? Here, let's go down here. It's a nice empty street here. I don't know if you're familiar with this Cafe Wah, but this is one of the first places. I think this is where Jimi Hendrix was discovered. You can see him right there on the door.
Wow.
So this is a rock club that's been a staple in the West Village for as long as I've lived here. But I just don't know how a place like this can really survive, because without the ability to get people together for live music.
Oh, I like Minetta's Tavern also. It's one of my regular places I like to go to.
Yeah, I mean, but all these places are suffering pretty badly. So I guess, we'll head back over to Stonewall, see if anything is developing over there. What else is on your mind, Tara? I mean, there's so much going on. It's
all right. So we're in a Biden's America.
Yeah.
How are we going to be moving forward in a Biden's America? Because now we've got executive orders controlling our speech.
That's I mean, that was so stunning to me. The no discussing.
Isn't that a direct for an executive order banning certain words, isn't that a direct violation of the First Amendment rights, that the government can't control that?
I just think it's a direct excerpt from George Orwell. They should just put President Stupid Joe on a giant TV and call him Big Brother.
Big Brother's watching you.
Yeah. I mean, how can he seriously do that? I don't even know what that means. If I say it, I imagine that look at this, Audible Theater. When did that become the Audible Theater?
Oh, wow, it used to be a Minetta Lane Theater. I remember I came here to see what was it called? Nutcracker Rouge.
Oh, it still says Minetta Lane Theater up there. Audible Theater at Minetta. So what is it? So it looks like they've done something together with Audible where now you could listen to the shows on Audible.
Okay.
So Amazon now taking over theaters as well.
I remember seeing some things during the campaign when it was Broadway for Biden.
What is that?
I don't know, when the
they
Broadway
were voting for him.
Yeah, the Broadway community was banning for Biden.
I wonder how they feel now that he's keeping it closed.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, betrayed, cast aside, bewildered.
So I mean, so here we go. We got these little tables out here. It would be freezing, I think, to. Okay, here we go. Let's approach it from this direction.
Oh, and it's stopping over.
Oh, I guess there's a fire over there or something. Breaking news here from the fire lane. So you're going to be resuming your tour kind of around the country pretty soon, right?
Yes. Yes, I plan on. I want to hit Chicago and Philly, and I'll just be tracking what's going on the social media space, because that's where they post their flyers of what's going to be going on. And so whenever I see a peculiar looking flyer and I want to know what it means, like white accomplice 101 training, like what does that mean?
That is a very strange thing. So there's another police van over here down the street. I guess that makes sense for the police to be strategically positioned if they know something is going to happen. Now, you told me something really interesting the other day after our interview, that you were the one to locate John Sullivan at the Hamptons Inn or the Holiday Inn.
The Hamilton Inn. It was
Hamilton
on
Inn.
January 7th. Yeah, and I caught the footage of him being arrested. And that was good that he was arrested by the feds at that point, but at that point he was arrested and then he was released and not
Was it
charged.
the FBI that arrested him or the DC Metro Police?
I saw that it was the DC Metro Police that were the ones that were there, but since this is a federal issue with storming the Capitol, it put him further onto their radar. And so he had been arrested a couple of days ago. A second time, his brother James Sullivan was the one that had turned him in.
That's pretty
second
interesting. That's pretty interesting. Now, it's his adopted brother, so
Yes.
they're not biological brothers, but they're still brothers. I mean, they grew up together. You got to think he must know him pretty well, and that says a lot when your own brother turns you in to the feds.
And even for Brandon Starka, it was a relative. The criminal complaint states that it was a family member, that a relative that had turned him in as well.
That's really. I hope Brandon's all right. I mean, I don't know if people understand what they're doing when they do something like that. I mean, of course, if somebody's done something, Ocasio-Cortez is saying to Ted Cruz, "Oh, you almost got me killed 3 weeks ago." I really think that's an exaggeration. What happened with the DC, the U.S. Capitol Police, obviously, that was unacceptable. Attacking a police officer, attacking anybody is totally unacceptable. But I don't think anybody was really going to kill the members of Congress who were in there.
And it's not something new in terms of like storming inside of like the Capitol. It happened in 2017. I believe it was 2017.
They were
with
banging on the doors of the.
It was the Women's March. I saw the footage of the Women's March in 2017. That they went and stormed the inside of the Capitol, and they were going room to room.
Really?
For the congressmen. They're there. And it's not like that was ever charged as a terrorist event or a terrorist attack. So it's not the first time that the Capitol has been stormed and infiltrated, or people have gone inside. And you didn't see that in this event with the Women's March, that people were charged as terrorists, or even if it got even played in the media.
Have you heard anything more about what's happening with Brandon?
I have not.
I mean, they released John Sullivan within a day or two. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And why would the police arrest him, release him, and then arrest him again? They obviously knew he was in there. I haven't heard anything about what happened with the documentarian who was with him.
Oh yeah, Jade.
Right.
I know another Orlando man that was arrested, Joseph Biggs, who's part of the Proud Boys. They had released him, but like they put him they put one of those electronic bracelets on.
Oh, GPS.
Yeah.
Wow.
As a condition of his release.
To be fair, that's what's on Sullivan as well. Now, I saw a story that they said that Enrique Tarrio is an FBI informant or something like that. Do you have any information on that?
When I read the articles, I think it's in the sense like anybody's going to cooperate with the police. This was purported to put a target on his back. That's the way I read it. 100%. That to me is completely the obvious part of it. And because like in terms of cooperating with like the feds, of course, if the FBI asks you for information or to facilitate an investigation, you hand over what you have for it, so you don't obstruct.
Right.
And then so that's the way I read the articles as well. And for it to just have been blown up all over the mainstream medias over the last couple of days, it's to put a target on his back. The conditions to which he was even arrested on January 4th when he came into DC, completely.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Completely wrong. So get this. When he arrived at the airport, they arrested him at gunpoint, pulling him out of his vehicle for misdemeanor property damage.
Wow.
There's no way like that's ever remotely appropriate to be arresting a person at gunpoint for a misdemeanor property damage.
Yeah. No,
And-
it's absolutely outrageous.
And then they tried to also, one of the other charges they tried putting on him was because he had the outer case
Oh,
shells.
the magazines.
The
yeah.
magazines. So these are empty magazines that are
For
decorative.
guns.
They're decorative that he has on his body armor plates. So with that, they're charging him for having something that is an empty magazine that is used for decorative purposes on his plates.
But they're considering it ammunition or weapons or something like that. You know, the first thing that occurred to me when I saw it, the Proud Boys are obviously they're sort of the countermeasure to Antifa, and they're kind of anti-government, right? I mean, they're not joining the police, they're not joining the armies, they're somewhat of a militia or their own kind of thing. So if they start putting it out there that the leader is working with the FBI or something like that, it would seem to serve as a method to create turmoil within the organization, to create the members, to create distrust among the members and maybe kind of break down that whole organization. Have you spoken to any of those guys? Do you know anybody who has any inside information about what's going on?
I haven't spoken to them in a little while. Things are trying to, cool off since January 6th.
Right.
And then they were actually, I saw this flyer that was going around. It was even purported on mainstream media. It about having armed protests to be storming the capitals, every state capital.
Again?
So this was a little while ago.
Oh.
But this was, I don't know what date it was, but it was a Saturday, maybe not this past Saturday, the week before. But I know that from the Proud Boys, they were telling people not to go and
Right.
because it was a fake flyer. And the first thing when I saw this flyer, its colors are communist colors. It was
so windy.
Yeah, it's so windy.
Let's go over here.
It was a red flyer of a red Statue of Liberty and had yellow stars on the side. No actual patriot flyer
That's
would
China.
ever have that. It would look like the Chinese flag or the communist flag.
This is the coldest it has ever been on a walk and talk video. So, okay, let's see what's going on. We're back over here right there it is. I don't think there's anything happening here. That might have been a wrong flyer or whatever. It doesn't look like anybody's over here.
And where are the police at that they were?
We're down the street over there. Huh. Well, I don't know. What do you think?
Let me check Twitter.
And I'll check our comments and see if anybody has any questions for Tara or any input for us here.
Actually, it's only 4:50. So 5 o'clock is when they were going to be assembling. So
We'll keep waiting
Yeah.
here. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So do you think Andrew Yang is going to be the next mayor?
everyone certainly knows him.
Right. It's a brand name, right?
And this does tend to be a completely Democratic-run city, so is the chances of him becoming the mayor, I think he has a high chance. I would love to be able to interview him. We're looking to interview him on live1.tv, so we've been reaching out to him to see if we can schedule that interview. And
Great.
I'd love to debate him.
That would be great if you could interview him. And also remind everybody how they can see that show.
It's called The Capitol, and it's on live1.tv.
So just go to live1.tv.
So the episode that we filmed together a couple of days ago should be made public in the next couple of days. So you'll be able to see Jason on the Capitol.
Let's keep moving because it's freezing. There's a cute little dog.
I'm one of those people, if I see dogs, I just go, dog, and I'll be gone for like half hour. Aww. Beautiful.
It's always a mystery to me how a dog could be comfortable on a freezing cold day like today, and then the same dog is not too hot in the summertime. I don't know. I feel like if there was going to be a protest there would be people here right now.
Let's see.
Yeah, let's get a little closer. Careful. So we got an idea. what's going on, and I'll stay here with the camera just to be low key, and I'll dash over there if anything crazy happens.
I saw that there was going to be a protest that's at 5 o'clock. It's going to be
down here in like an hour.
a rally. Okay.
like an
What
hour,
is
yeah.
what is the rally in pertaining to? I saw it was like to let them
Trans rights, black trans rights.
black trans rights.
Yes, it's here. They've been doing it for the whole summer, winter.
Okay, so it's going to be further down this way.
All over
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Oh,
See where
okay.
the guy's sitting on the stairs?
Yeah.
He'll be arriving around here.
Okay.
In like
Okay.
half an hour and then.
And they're going to have speeches and.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
everything.
Oh, fantastic! Thank you.
It's a great celebration.
Oh, great. Thanks.
Oh my God, I just realized you don't even have gloves.
Oh, that's fine. The polar side of me keeps me warm.
So they said it's going to be down the street over here?
Yeah, they said it's going to be all down over this street, and they said it's for black trans rights, which was not really what I saw online
No.
with the flyer that had to do with like free the people. But that's what they
Right.
said.
Yeah, that's a whole different, it's a bait and switch topic. I don't know, do we want to wait around for that?
I mean, you can see what's going to be
Let's
happening.
step
It's going to
over
be
there and see.
it's going to be in a couple of minutes is when it's like slated to be starting.
All right, well, we'll check it out. I can't believe you don't have gloves. I have gloves and I'm freezing. Huh.
But she said that they've been having it all summer. It does feel like it's going to be a bait and switch, kind of like the rally that I had gone to, because she corrected me when she said it's not a protest, it's a rally.
Right. Give it 10 minutes. And then
it's
it'll
gonna-
become a protest.
Oh, then it's going to become a peaceful riot.
A riot, right. Now let's see if the police are still there. They were right around the corner here. They're not. Oh no, yes they are. There they are.
I'm sure the police are anticipating a very peaceful riot as well.
I mean, you know, they've created an untenable situation for the police because when you've got the Attorney General bringing lawsuits against the NYPD for enforcing the law, it doesn't encourage them to enforce the law.
Right.
It makes them afraid to do that. It makes it basically an impossible situation. This is the quietest rally I've seen the whole entire time.
I think when it's really going to start.
From what I've seen is they usually have speeches for the first hour and then they march from there.
Right. Now wait a minute, we just lost our sound here. Let's see this out. Sorry, give me 1 second to make me stop.
But I think I'm going to grab a coffee
It is so
from
cold.
the
I don't know
Starbucks.
if I don't know how much longer I can stand being out here. Okay, I think we should be back with audio now. Well,
Oh, it says Texas up there.
where?
I think, does this say Texas?
Oh yeah, on the side of the building there. Yeah, I should say taxes because that's going to be what's coming to New York next. Well, I'm feeling a little sad because I had hoped we would see a protest by now. We're sort of just waiting here. The Popo are putting on the party lights for some.
Oh, green hat. Look, green hat.
Oh yeah.
Neon green hat.
Right. good eye. I feel like I'm getting frostbite. So the channel, the Polish American Brotherhood on YouTube, has been growing really rapidly.
Yes, I think the more I've been covering events that people have been caring about, and
Yeah.
also like what you're not going to be seeing in mainstream media. So that's good that audiences are tuning in to be looking for smaller channels that don't have an agenda,
Right.
other than bringing you like really live coverage of what's going on our streets.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a real big problem that YouTube and everybody is shutting everything down. I gotta tell you something. I don't know how much longer I can stay out here. I'm really freezing.
Yeah, the sun gone and everything. Woo!
I think we should. I think. I don't know that there's going to be much going on out here. What do you think about maybe wrapping up?
I think so.
Yeah. I'm sorry to cut it short, but it's just so cold. So, you're going to go uptown, or what are you?
I'm going to grab a Starbucks. I am
All
going
right.
to stick around in the area.
Okay, so
So-
let's just give everybody one last. You got the Polish American Brotherhood channel.
Yes.
People can find you on Venmo.
On Venmo for any donations from generous donors, it'd be PoAmBrotherhood.
On Venmo, and people go to Venmo.com and just search for that.
Venmo is the Cash App that.
Cash App.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
well, hey, you should consider starting a Subscribe Star
I
channel.
need to start a Patreon as well.
On
People have been
Patreon,
telling me.
yeah, I can help you do that, and hopefully people who are watching us now will become sponsors of Crowdsource the Truth. They can go to patreon.com/crowdsource the truth or subscribestar.com/crowdsource the truth. My face is freezing. It's becoming difficult to talk. But Tara, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Jason.
And if anything outrageous happens over here,
I'll be capturing it on my channel.
there we go. Perfect. That's perfect. All right. Thanks for watching.